Mississippi mud cake. Delicious brownie type cake batter, cooked to perfection with marshmallow cream or marshmallows and a homemade chocolate icing. Get your sweet tooth ready for this wonderful treat. Today, we're making a Mississippi mud cake. Woo! Y'all Mississippians, did y'all really come up with this cake? I'm just curious. Boy, y'all, we're gonna have something good today. Mississippi mud cake. I know you all remember that one. So we've got our miniature marshmallows. We've got our cocoa, our white lily flour, sugar, some good old chopped pecans, and these are local pecans we got from a guy down the road, and they're good and fresh. They've been in the freezer since last summer. And then we've got our eggs and butter. So we're gonna get started and make this delicious cake. Now, when this cake comes out of the oven, that's when you put the marshmallows on it. So you don't put them in the mix, all right? First thing we're going to do is put in our butter with our sugar. So you're gonna be using a whole cup of butter. Sounds good, don't it? Alrighty, so we're gonna whip up this butter with our sugar. And we're gonna be using 2 cups of sugar with the cup of butter. Cups of sugar. All right, for the cocoa, we're going to use a 1/3 cup, and I'm going to let it be a little bit heaping because Chris likes a lot of chocolate. So we're going to whip this up first and get it good and blended before we add our cocoa. We're also going to, once we get this good and blended, I think I'll add my eggs next and then add the cocoa. So I'm adding these eggs one at a time, and I'm letting it blend really well in between each addition. So there's 4 eggs. Now I'm going to add my cocoa. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is put in our vanilla, then our flour. And last but not least, our delicious pecans, okay? So there's no milk going in this cake. And we're using 1½ cups of flour. And I'm going to put in 1 cup of pecans, chopped. So don't overmix it. Let it mix at the most about 2 minutes before you get it in the pan. our White Lily self-rising flour. When you use the self-rising, then you don't have to add the baking powder and the salt. So if you're using plain flour, you need to Google how much baking powder and salt you need, for those of you that can't get the self-rising flour. The original recipe calls for more pecans than that, but I personally think a cup of pecans is more than enough. It calls for 1.5 cups of pecans. And some people actually put coconut in their Mississippi mud cake, but we're not putting coconut in it because we didn't grow up with it that way. And Amy's coming home and we want it to be, she will eat pecans, but I don't think she would want the coconut in it. We're going to put our batter in our pan. So we're going to spray our pan really well with some cooking spray. Now this is baking. It has the flour in it. It's really good for cakes. Now you know when you got 2 cups of sugar and only 1.5 cups of flour, it's going to be a good sweet cake. This cake has got more butter than an average cake in it and more sugar compared to the amount of flour that's going in. So it's a gooey, yummy cake. So we're going to spread this out in this pan, get it in the oven. Now you need to make sure you have all your ingredients out for your icing. Have your icing ready to pour on the cake when it comes out of the oven, because you've got to let your marshmallows melt a little bit. So you put your marshmallows on a hot cake. All right, we get to lick the spoon and get it in the oven. 350 degrees until a toothpick comes out clean. How's that? I'm going to set it on 30 minutes and check it, but it might take it more like 40 because of it being in a sheet pan. The cake's got about 5 minutes before it's done, so we're going to go ahead and mix up our icing and be ready for it when it comes out to get those marshmallows on there. And you're going to start with a 1/2 stick of butter. I always use salted butter in all of my recipes. It's canned evaporated milk. A 1/3 cup of the cocoa. Some vanilla. I put in a lot. I'm generous because it's flavoring. All right, we'll put these in last. And then once we get this mixed up good, we're going to add the pound of powdered sugar. And it's not going to be a thick icing, it's going to be a thin icing. Make sure I got all of the stuff from the edges of the bowl. And when we add the pecans to it, it will also give it a little bit of depth. We're going to go ahead and put some pecans in it. So this recipe calls for a couple of cups of pecans. And I know they're expensive to buy. I think it's just as good to get the chopped pecans as it is to get the whole ones. It's cheaper to get them. And, I mean, they taste just as good. Now, this cake is probably going to fall in the middle. I'm going to let it cook a little bit longer because it is so gooey, ooey gooey. So get ready for it to be dumped in the middle a little, because whenever you got a lot of sugar in a cake, it does that. Okay, we're getting it out. And while it's hot, that's when you put on your marshmallows. Well, my marshmallows had melted together, so we'll be using marshmallow cream. You can use either or, okay? As long as it's got the marshmallow on it, doesn't matter which one you pick. This one's easier to spread, and you need to use plenty of it to make it good. I'm going to get me out a separate spreader for this. So you put this on while the cake is still hot. And 7 ounces will work. And y'all, those of you that like 7-minute icing, that's pretty much what this tastes like. For real. It's really sticky, so it's going to want to pull your cake up. That's why you got to put enough on there that you can spread it around. And see how it's kind of dough down in the middle? Yummy. It's going to be yummy. That's sweet, ain't it? Now, I bet a lot of your mamas made this cake, and I bet a lot of y'all enjoyed it. It's hard not to get the two mixed together when you're using the marshmallow cream, especially, I'm sure. But by now, even if you were using marshmallows, they should be melting. That's it. I'll just do a little swirl in it both ways. You know what it looks like? Pudding, don't it? Yummy! It'll be delicious. First, I want to apologize that the cameraman did not let his wife know she needed to fix her lipstick. But now that I look all like I'm supposed to, we're cutting the cake. All right, look at this thing. Does it look delicious or what? And I'm going to try my best to cut it and put it on this tray. We're going to see if I can accomplish it. My goodness. Well, first off, let me get that thing out from under it, honey bun. Does that look good or what? All right, let's see. How long does it need to be for my table? About to here. Chris says, I don't think that's a good idea. I said, we're going to try to do it with my fish spatula. And my regular spatula. Can it be accomplished? Uh-oh, the regular spatula is not cooperating. Da-da-dum, da-da-da-da. Does that look good? Or what? Can you see the cake part over there? Or just the marshmallow?
A little bit of both.
Yum. This looks good. Don't it? This is my piece of cake. Don't it look good? It smells like chocolate. All right, I'm cutting me a piece to try. Whoops. I want the end piece because it's going to be chewy like a brownie, I think. It's so sticky with that marshmallow. That is like a sugar explosion. It is a little over the top for me because how sweet it is. But now my husband will go nuts over it, won't you, Chris? He loves a lot of sugar and stuff. It's very delicious. It's very chewy. It's very sweet. Thanks for watching Collard Valley Cooks, where we cook like Mama did. Bye, y'all. Love ya.